G'day, Chief. Welcome to the Inner Chief podcast and this special episode, which we call the Mini Chief. These are short, sharp highlights from our fabulous CEO guests, where you get a 5 to 10 minute snapshot of the highlights from their episode. Righto, Chief. Without further ado, here is the Mini Chief episode for this week with
Professor Joel Pearson, Director of the Future Minds Lab.
Let's talk about the size of the change and the transformation here. Like, what are the latest big three things going on in AI? And maybe to quickly talk about robotics. What I'm thinking is, let's just talk about what's coming, and then let's talk about the Dream Big framework that you've got that might just help people deal with what's coming, right?
Yeah. So most people, I'm assuming everyone who's listening to this has heard of, ChatGPT and the large language models that we can now use, Claude or ChatGPT or Google. So they're all amongst us now, and they're large language models. There's also large object models, for lack of a better description, but they're models that are generative in a similar way, but they're not dealing with words. They're dealing with things in machinery or protein folding, or trying to map the world's magnetic fields, or you name it. So there's all kinds of different generative AI being put to work in all kinds of services and products now behind the scenes we're not aware of. So even if there were no big breakthroughs in AI going forward from now, we've still got a number of years with amazing transformations in tech coming through the pipeline. So the things that are still under development or have been developed and haven't been fully made available yet. And so that's what I'll sort of say to people, that it's not, we're not relying on more big breakthroughs. People will say that the AI models have been trained on all the data there is. And that's also not true. They now have you can use some AI models to create synthetic data sets that can help train other AI models. And the big thing with training is going to be the humanoid robots. So there's probably at least 100, probably a few hundred humanoid robot companies now. And so people have probably heard of the Tesla bot. Figure Robotics is a very well-known one now in the US. They got about to launch Figure 3 now, and Brett Adcock, the CEO of that company, they're just shown their new factory, and they're saying, within 5 years, a humanoid robot will be as common as an iPhone. And people are saying things like that. We'll be able to rent one. They're already in factories. They're already taking pieces of machinery. You can see the footage of them working in BMW's factories, and they can just walk in and start working in the factory. You don't have to rejig the whole factory. You just buy a couple of humanoids. They can charge themselves. They can do what humans do, because that's why they're shaped as humanoids. So the AI revolution and the robotics revolution are going to go sort of hand in hand. The robotics one's kind of is a bit delayed, or a bit behind. But once the humanoid robots are out there in the world, they're all going to be learning. And you can think of all those touch sensors and sight and sound sensors as an infinite learning capabilities for AI. Just the same, the way that the Tesla fleet of cars around the world is learning all the time while they're driving. So they're refining the self-driving models. So it'll be the same with these humanoid robots. So they're in factories. We'll soon see them at hospitals and nursing homes, and then we'll see them in our own homes. And they're already doing trials now with using them, to help do the washing up, to help clean your house. And the reason people like this idea so much is you don't have to change anything in your house at all. They fit through the doorways. They've got 2 arms, 2 legs. They don't look scary or challenging. They can just come in and go to work. And people talking about them being, $16,000 per unit. And you can buy them or hire them or rent them, and they're not going to get tired. Sure, they've got to recharge or whatever, but they can just work around the clock on something. So that in itself, you've got the intelligence of the AI, the robotics. It's just going to change everything in our lives. It'll change everything that uses electricity, and by definition, everything in our lives. So obviously jobs is the place to start, because people get really worried about this.
Yep.
And it's become like almost a sport. Like there's so many of these large consulting firms trying to figure out and predict, is it 5%, 10%, 30%, 50, 60% job losses over the next decade or so? And no one knows for sure, but there's all these different ways and models of calculating that. And that seems to be the range between 10 and 60%, the range I've seen of predictions. And you model that out in any of those numbers out on, imagine any city with 50% job losses, right? it's a completely different place. So that kind of thing worries me. I don't see governments doing what I think, getting things ready. That it's going to take a while to spin up the gears to start preparing for that. Education is going to change, right? We've never had bespoke education for an individual student that's designed just for them that is scalable. And AI is starting to allow that now. It's starting to come into some schooling environments. But then there's the bigger question of what do we even need to teach our kids? Do they need to go to university? In this new world, sort of post AI, where we're all plugged in, we have wearables on us that speak to our personal AI assistant, which is secure and private. It's with us 24/7. It has access to all the information in the world. It has more compute, more intelligence than any single person in the world. So what is the role of my education if you think of me and an AI as this sort of augmented entity going forward in time? And it's not clear. We don't have the answers for that. How should we even think about education? We don't know the answer to that yet. So we've got to figure that out. And then there's all the other changes, right? That I think companies will become AIs. We'll have an AI as the company entity itself running a company. It'll be augmented with humans. Of course, governments will be co-run with AIs. The economy will totally change. I think most of the economy will become not a black market, but sort of a sub-threshold interaction of AIs that will be happening so fast we can't track it, which is a little bit scary. I think the internet will be gone as we think about it. There'll be no need for websites and, the way websites and entertainment works on the internet now. We won't have any need for that. Our AIs will just have every information and every form of entertainment for us whenever we want. So the internet will disappear. There's just so many different changes like that are starting to happen and that will happen. And it's really hard for humans to predict this because it's exponential, right? So that's that hockey stick function that goes up. And when you take a piece of paper and you fold it and fold it and fold it again, you fold it 42 times and it goes from the earth to the moon. And it's hard for people to intuitively get that. Our intuition fails there because this doubling, we're just not used to it.
Unfathomable, right?
Yeah. So when you see something like robotics just doubling and it goes from 2 robots to 4 robots to 8 robots, it's like, well, it's not really change anything. And people ignore it. But once anything gets to a large number, it then starts and it keeps on doubling, it has massive impact. And so another reason a lot of people won't see some of these changes happening until they really hit is because of this cognitive bias we have just to not see exponential changes and not feel it, therefore not really react in time.
So we might just quickly pause because I suspect there's a lot of people listening right now that are going, holy Toledo. Okay. And
yes, apologies, everyone.
Yeah. And so if that is the case, let's go back to what we said at the beginning. That is expected and predictable, and how you
absolutely
should react, how you should react as a normal human being with a normal operating system like the rest of us. And you can reset it. Just do a couple of good quality box breaths to restart.
Absolutely, yeah.
You have agency, right? This is now about, okay, we're going into a world that will be very, very different, and we will need great leaders to step up right now and create the new markets and work out the way we live. And if we don't have a whole, like an army of great people out there around this, guess what we got? An army of lunatics.
Yeah.
We might already have. So I think in some ways it's a bit of a call to arms to get yourself educated on this and make AI at least a part of the way you operate so you understand it and you get it. Use it every day.
Yeah.
I now use it every day, right? In all my work, there's value in it, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't see many roles where it couldn't be valuable. I just can't see one right now. So let's think about now. Okay, we're going into a world where there is, and when you just touched on the points that are going through your head, right? There is a thing here that I remember I heard you say once. We're actually not very good at predicting where this is going to go. Like I think we said roles that will be like accountants and lawyers, and the first roles that went were coders.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the interesting thing that futurists, the CEOs of the AI companies get this wrong.
Yeah.
They even get it wrong. Like when they first made ChatGPT, they didn't realize that it would be able to speak a whole bunch of languages. That surprised them. And there were lots of other things that came as a surprise. And so when you see, and their predictions about the progress and the speed of agentic AI and the things we're seeing now, they got that wrong as well. They were saying, oh yeah, 5 years out. And then 6 months later, it's here. So the people making these things are getting the predictions wrong. So, I mean, that's why it's what hope is there for the rest of us, right? And so I think it is really good to still make predictions because it forces us to think things through and talk about predictions, whether they're right or wrong. I don't think it's that important, but the important thing is to stimulate the thinking about it and for us to think this through.
Yeah. And you must own your headspace, Chiefs. This is so.
Yeah.
You must own your headspace because this will blow it up if you don't. Chief, there you have it for this week with our mini Chief episode. All the resources can be found at chiefmaker.com/364. Now, Chief, do you want to take your game to a new level or that of your people? Our mini MBA in leading high performance teams now has the highest NPS of any mini MBA style program in Australia at 91. Why? Because when you do the program, you get immediate and tangible performance improvement. You get dedicated time working on the business as opposed to away from it. We have a practical, real-world approach where we teach frameworks that you implement in your business as we go, and then you share and learn with your peers and with me as your coach. So the cost benefit is immediate, right? The weekly coaching sessions are live and you get a chance to ask questions direct to me and of your peers. And the time management is completely achievable because you're only spending a couple of hours a week on this at max, and those 2 hours are actually working on the business. So if you want to add something that really changes your game, that helps you become a real master of transformation and change, and to inspire your people and love your job, check out chiefmaker.com/mini MBA. And if you would like to stay in touch and hear all about some of the best resources you can find anywhere in the world to improve your performance at work, go to chiefmaker.com/subscribe. Now, Chief, if you're yet to rate the episode and subscribe, I hope you'll do so soon. It helps others see the magnificent value that the chiefs and gurus bring to their life and career. So make sure you hit subscribe on your podcast app now, give it a 5-star rating if you think it's worthy, and leave a short review about your favourite episode. Righto, Chiefs, as always, remember to stay epic.